We're down to the halfway mark in the Betway Premiership. This is a midweek action as Sekhukhune United host the Mamelodi Sundowns. As Sekhukhune United will want to get a result here at home. When you look at their fortunes at home, again, they're going up against Masandawana, who on the road as well, they have a lot to do. They will be depending on their 12 men. The fans here at home, new Peter Mokaba Stadium, will they be able to get their first victory up against Mamelodi Sundowns? It is all happening in Polokwane. United that are looking for their maiden victory up against the Mamelodi Sundowns, led by coach Eric Tinkler. This is a team that in 2026 they haven't enjoyed any success. They want to get back into the form that they had early on into the season. They gave a good defensive shift up against the Orlando Pirates, but today they need to focus offensively what they can do. You see their sniper Keleto Mahalwa, but also this is a team that wants to ensure that at home they assert themselves. Coach Eric Tinkler says we cannot be a team that two back-to-back games we are unable to collect anything from them. If anything, the mentality needs to change. He speaks about the bravery as well that this team will have to show today up against the current log leaders in Mamelodi Sundowns. They have it all to do here at home at the new Peter Mokaba Stadium, where they will want to turn their fortunes around in the Betway Premiership. They're up against the Mamelodi Sundowns, a team as well on the road. They know that their fortunes need to change. Winless in the past 3 away games, but at home they're able to get results. A hectic fixture list for them. They do have CAF Champions League football to also think about, but also in the Betway Premiership, this is a team that has shown that they can get into the momentum, they can get into the consistency, and they do have that squad depth. When you look at the starting 11 with regards to what Coach Miguel Cardozo has chosen for today, entirely different, but again, the mandate is the same. They need to ensure that they win, but also how they do so. Are they able to keep a very good shape? Are they able to assert themselves away from home up against the side where they have dominated up against, and that is the Sekhukhune United. Bright lights at the new Peter Mokaba Stadium. It is Sekhukhune United that take on Mamelodi Sundowns. Both teams separated by just 3 points, making this all to play for. When you look at Sekhukhune United, they need to win today to ensure that they keep up with the pace setters, and for Mamelodi Sundowns, it's a matter of catch me if you can, and they will ensure that they go on to collect the maximum points. When you look at the current log standings and maybe the possible ramifications of today's game, you look at Mamelodi Sundowns, they do have that particular 29 points that they have collected. Orlando Pirates are just on their toes, and then you also have a Sekhukhune United that is currently in that position, 5th position, where they have a lot to do. But when you look at what's going on bottom of the log standings, a team like Makesi have it all to do. It's an uphill battle, but this is what we love about the Betway Premiership. Come the second round, things are different. It is more difficult to get points, but this is why we love it. That's why we say Lise Kazini, and this is what midweek football brings to you. A very good evening to you and a warm welcome, joined by a fantastic panel. Coach Simpiwe Lulu, Donna Modise. It's a fixture that on paper Mamelodi Sundowns have dominated, but when you look at this newfound character for Sekhukhune United, do you think they can make it a bit difficult today for them?
Yeah, I think it's, if you're a team that really wants to get into the podium come end of the season, these are the type of games they need to show up. And with Sekhukhune, you listen to the coach in the beginning of the season, he spoke about the 50 points that they need to actually get into. And these are the type of games that they're going to be tough. You look at the previous fixture they played against Orlando Pirates, they played Mamelodi Sundowns. So these are the fixtures that you need to get through, because after this, it might not be as difficult. But yet again, you're playing at home, you need to use a home ground advantage. So it'll be very interesting to see whether he's going to be very brave enough to go and try and cause problems for Mamelodi Sundowns, or maybe ultra defensively, maybe wait for those type of opportunities.
Back-to-back big fixtures, blockbuster fixtures. Coach, how are you looking at this particular Sekhukhune United team? Is it the type of time in the season where they need to change their character? They need to now start looking forward to these big games and getting something out of them?
Changing a character would be suicide for them, but improving a character would be critical for them, because improvement in emotional intelligence, improvement in physical intelligence and physical literacy. Why do I say this? If we're able to put Orlando Pirates to a standstill, deny them time and space on the ball, you can improve on Mamelodi Sundowns and say there's areas you are going to target and be able to say from Sundowns, this is where I'm looking at stopping them or creating chances even, because it shouldn't just be about stopping Sundowns, but how do I also force Sundowns to stop me as a team, because it's 22 players on the field that need to show up and show off of the work that they've done so far. They've been a very stable team, organized in how they are. You even hear the coach when he speaks, he's sober, he knows what he's he's talking about, and he's sure about his players' abilities and capabilities. And in this matchup today, he needs to be able to say to his team, yes, they're on top of the log, but they're only how many points behind ahead of us? Only 3. Yes, we might have 2 extra matches, but it means that we have to go even further and try harder because it's not over yet. It's only halfway mark.
Only the halfway mark, and it's only now where things are going to start getting a bit difficult. Nico, how do you balance that? A good performance against Orlando Pirates, a massive performance that you need to put in against Mamelodi Sundowns. Do you look at the defensive shift? Do you then focus offensively what you have to do?
I think maybe based on the results that you got against Orlando Pirates, you realize that there's certain moments Orlando Pirates could have scored a goal and the game would have opened up. Maybe you're trying to fix those, but also emphasizing as well as to how good defensively you were against Orlando Pirates. But also maybe looking at a number of chances that created going forward, because at the end of the day, you want to try and win the game. And this is where, for you to get to 50 points that you spoke about earlier on, you need to try and win games. And these are the type of games that are going to come and be difficult, but you can't just lie there and just, give up. You need to try and win the game. But also, they do have players in their squad that are very dangerous. You do have Krobler as well, that is a goal scorer. You do have Ngube, that can cause problems. You do also have Makhalo. You've got players that are capable of going forward and cause problems. But yet again, when you're playing against Mamelodi Sundowns, when you're giving too much time and space on the ball, then you're creating enough problems for yourself. But we will see as to then how then the approach will be from Coach Eric Tinkler.
When you look at Sekhukhune United, a player like Ronaldo Lina making his 50th appearance across all competition, and of course that is something that could actually just build that bit of momentum for them. They've made 3 changes. Coach, I'm quite fascinated to find out about your thinking behind Lebogang Phiri being brought in. Has he been able to acclimatize? Will he be able to give Mamelodi Sundowns a good run for their money?
Tactically and technically, where he comes from, he's a well-developed player, and I think his induction into the team is to bring stability in that midfield because he will be playing with Umkhize in there, and with his international experience, however, he has to hang on a bit, read the situation, and not come in ngobuso. So it's the same thing for him. He doesn't have to be naive and try to prove a point, but he has to prove himself in a sense of where does he close the gaps, where does he close the passing lanes, where does it make it easy for him and Kiza to work well together, because they're a team that's going to be playing on transition. So he has to step up and make sure that he doesn't do too many mistakes. Sundowns, I find the Pirates, you make mistakes here, they punish you because of the quality that Sundowns has. Lama changes a corner, it's critical changes as well, because on the right you can see that the coach says, I know that they can overload, that is Mamelodi Sundowns on the wing play, so let's also make it difficult for them to have it easy.
The evolution of Bright Ndlovu.
Yeah. I mean, it's so nice when you've been given an opportunity to play and you grow game by game. We always speak about having experience. You can only have that by being on the pitch and being tested as well. And I think it's been fantastic at the back for Sekhukhune United. He'll be required again to put out his stellar performance against a side that can score from any angle.
You spoke about the stability that Lebogang Phiri brings to Sekhukhune United, but today for Mamelodi Sundowns, no Tebogo Mokoena suspended, but I think he's one of those players that you expect to see in any lineup for Mamelodi Sundowns. Wholesale changes they made by Coach Mikel Cardoso.
Mokoena not being in the team allows us to see the magic that Mkhulisa brings as well, and that's what I'm excited about, because he's a maestro that marshals at midfield, and also it will allow Sundowns to be able to rest other players because they've got a jam-packed schedule ahead of them. And in this also, Mkhulisa is a player that can transition from being in defensive roles, go forward as well. And with Salles being there, Reyners being there, it means they must also be able to bypass that midfield of Sekhukhune, because if a team defends too deep, then you'll have to find ways to go into areas where they don't want to go, and that is wide, because they want to stay compact. So it's going to be key for the team to make sure. He might not, Mkhulise, take shots as Mokoena, but he really makes those break line passes. He's able to change gears of the game. He's also able to collect deep from the defenders, and that's critical for a Sundowns kind of play.
Atur Saleh is a player that is currently growing with his confidence. He's getting the goals. He's getting comfortable in the space. He's a very important player for Coach Mikel Cardoso.
It is, and at times you look at him when he becomes so productive, you look at the players around him. He likes to come more into the ball, getting those interplaying as well. But there's also the element that he does and breaking the line and getting the ball over the defensive line to be able to score. So he does still have those attributes of a striker. So he becomes important in the role that he plays. But he has grown within the team, and the fans actually have also loved the way that he've grown into it. But it will be very interesting to see, because there's no defensive midfielder, which means Mamelodi Sundowns will be able to defend with the ball or counter press, because they don't have any notable defensive midfielder.
This is an opportunity, Coach Lulu, for players like Yokigan Johannes, players like Jaden Adams that are coming in that now want to show Coach Miguel Cardoso that, Coach, in the absence of the key players, the big players, we can also step up.
It's also for them to be able to show fluidity when it comes to that, not just show up in terms of stats, but fluidity in how they are able to connect with the players, because we know that Sundowns loves to play with the wings, and I'm saying wings deliberately, not saying defenders, fullbacks, wings, because they are able to push and be able to start their attack. And if we see a goal like this, they were pressing high and made it difficult for Orbit to be able to play, and that's what you want, because they pressed it. How Salis, he was just hanging there waiting for the goalkeeper to play the ball, and he presses to win possession, and that's what you want from a Sundowns team. They let you play. As soon as they win the ball, they can connect through the middle, they can go wide, and a sub that just came on to say, in my debut, I'll just be able to score like that from the young player on the left. That for me speaks to the fluidity we're talking about, to say even when you bring in new players, you also want them to be able to have the fluidity and continue where the senior players or the most informed players are not available to play.
The mandate doesn't change, Donna, irrespective of who is in that starting 11 for Mamelodi Sundowns. They're expected to keep possession, they're expected to assert themselves. But what are some of the problems that could come with that when you have such a different lineup?
I think it's become synergy, because training's totally different to a game. But also it